Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready to take a bite out of the competition? Are you looking for ideas to make your business better? Welcome to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet, sponsored by Apple Capital Group. At the core of every successful business, you'll find people making a difference. And with each episode of the Core Business Show, we talk with those people, examine those ideas, and explore the strategies that make them special. Now, the host of the Core Business Show, Tim Jacquet.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Core Business Show, focusing on managing, financing, and marketing a small business or startup on the Blog Talk Radio Network. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. Today, I have a pleasure of having the interview with two college freshmen, Raven Stanford and Kenya Osborne, who attend Southern Nazarene University in Bethany, Oklahoma. Both are nursing majors. And if you have any questions, please call in at 347-324-3460. Again, 347-324-3460, or you can pose a question in the chat room. Well, Raven and Kenya, welcome to the program.
Nice to be here.
Okay. We just keep it really simple. We just want to get a viewpoint of how you picked the college and what's your experience like from day one to ending your first year as a college freshman. So I guess to begin with, both of you guys are from Tulsa, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're from Tulsa.
Okay. How did you pick Southern Nazarene University?
Well, I wasn't even going to go to a university at first, but I applied later than I was supposed to. So that was the only school that was kind of accepting applications. But at first, I wasn't really happy about it. But then it benefited me in the end, though.
Wow. So it's a Christian university, of course. I'm sure they have like a one-on-one thing. The classes are smaller. It's more like a community. That's what I'm getting at the university and reading?
Yes. The classes are they're small. Some classes can get up to 30 people, but most of the classes, they're no more than 15 people. So it's more like one-on-one. The professor knows your name, and it's easier to talk to him.
And even 30 people, that's still small compared to a large university. That is very small compared to a class of 300 or 200 students. 30 people is just fine.
Okay. So when you actually had your first year itself, what was the day like? I guess I can go with Kenya first. What was that moment when you you got accepted, and now is that the thing you're trying to get all your supplies that you need for your first year of college? And what was that first day like when your anticipation in your heart when you actually drove from Tulsa to that university? Can you tell us what that experience is like? Then we'll get the same thing from Raven.
I was just thinking the whole time, what is it going to be like? What are the people going to be like? Is this going to be hard? Are the people going to be real? Are they going to be cool, genuine people? And when I got there, it was way different. It was like empty. I was one of the first students there because I play football, and the athletes were there 2 weeks before all of the other students. So the university campus was just empty. It was a lot of athletes, but it wasn't really full. But it was different leaving home and going to a new place that I've never been. But it's pretty cool in the end.
Okay. And what about you, Raven? How did that feel going to college and you're driving there and your anticipation, what's going to happen?
At first, I'm not even going to lie, I was kind of nervous. But once you're there, you get the hang of it. Like, going there, I was like, this is a new transition in my life. But, at first, I didn't think I could handle it, honestly. But, after staying on campus for a while and, learning to kind of be on my own, it's kind of a good feeling.
Wow. So that first night, okay, you walk in there, you get your room. So you get a roommate, of course, right?
Yes.
Is it co-ed dorm?
No.
So they're still keeping it real with them, okay? Girls with the girls, boys with the boys. So you had to share a room with your roommate. And how did that feel, sharing a room with someone you never met before, and you getting ready to spend a night with that person for the first time?
Well, I'll go first, right?
Okay.
When I first got there, I thought that I was going to be in my room by myself because my roommate came like 5 hours later, and it was the very end of the night. And I had about 3 roommates this whole year. My first roommate, we played football with each other, and we had to get up extra early to go to practice, and I could not take it because he snored so loud. I had to get a new roommate. But in the end, he ended up being a cool guy. And my second roommate, he left at the ending of the first semester, and now I'm with my current roommate. It's been different with all 3 of them, but so far as just living with another person is it's different. It's not a bad thing. It's actually good because I've gotten to learn a lot about different people and where different people come from. But I've enjoyed the roommate situation because it's taught me a lot about others, and it's taught me how to live and adjust to being in a situation with other people. I think it's really benefited me.
Wow. Okay. What about your experience, Raven?
Well, when I first got there, my roommate, when I first seen her, when I first moved in, her parents were there. So at first I was kind of nervous about meeting my roommate, but when I seen like she was up there before me, and then when I seen her parents up there, they were all talking to me and like making me feel like I was their friend or they already knew me. So then after I had a couple of conversations with them and after I met my roommate, she's a real laid back person. So after I kind of got to know her a little bit for the first day, I wasn't really just nervous like that. And currently I'm still living with her today. So there hasn't been much problems. Yes, we might have, had our differences, but there's been no extreme problems. She's pretty cool.
So it's 2 people per room, I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had to deal with some snoring, of course, and any any sleepwalkers or any chattering of the teeth in the middle of the night you're hearing from your other roommates or people on your same
No, my roommate, I've had to get on to her about keeping the room kind of tidy. It's not too bad, but we've had that talk, but we're both young adults, so we just sat down and I was just like, hey, let's kind of try to keep this clean a little. She was like, okay, that's fine. So I've really learned how to communicate well with people, not to, me and my roommate, we're on a good communication level. And I believe if anyone's going to move into a dorm, or if you're going to live with somebody you don't know, you need to kind of get on that boundary where if you do have a problem with them, you can confront them about it.
Let them know.
Because if you don't, it can build up, and then one day you might just blow up, and then it'll be horrible then.
Yeah, I had
really horrible.
my first roommate from the first semester. We had to come up with a TV chart at night because he couldn't sleep without the TV, and I hate the TV being on at night. So we had to make certain days to where if I had to get up early, then we turn the TV off. But if I didn't have to get up early, we keep it on. It's all about communication with your roommates.
Oh, so would, like, for example, if he had like his iPod or his phone and he just plug it in and just play music, that wasn't good enough. He has to have the TV flickering in the middle of the night.
He had to have the TV on.
If he couldn't sleep.
He couldn't sleep.
Well, I can tell you from my first experience, I had a head rocker. I don't know if you've seen people that rock their head. At 18 years old, that's kind of weird. Only way he can fall asleep if he rocks his head back and forth.
Oh, no, I never had it.
Yeah. So you're hearing that. So what in the world he's doing? He has an attack, but he's rocking his head literally, and that's how he falls asleep. And actually, he grew out of it, and it took about a month or so because I think he felt embarrassed, but he slowly calmed down. That after a month, he slowly stopped rocking altogether. So that's the way he stopped rocking his head is after a month because he felt embarrassed. But he was nervous for the first week, and it wasn't like every night, but yeah, he finally stopped rocking his head. So, so people have these stories. So in that, dorm environment, tell us what the dorm environment is like with all girls and with an all boys environment. I mean, do you allow people to trust?
My dorm, it's pretty small. It's very small, actually. But, we learn to adjust. We learn to find different ways. Me and my roommate, we have switched our beds. We have switched our beds around to find different ways to make the room have more room, I guess. But I mean, to me, it's kind of, it's kind of too small for 2 people. But I mean, it's fine. It's big enough for us to get by.
So in that whole experience, so how do you guys go to a lunchroom and go eat, or do you allow to have a microwave and to make snacks in your rooms, or what type of experience was
No.
it?
We could only have
Are you,
refrigerators.
In the microwave, we have RAs. That is a resident advisor, and
mhm.
there is two on every floor. I have 5 floors in my building, and there's one on one side of the hall and one on the other side of the hall. And they have a microwave in their room. Whatever we need, whether it's from printing paper to warming up food, we just knock on their door and tell them. And that most of the times they help us out with that.
Even at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Even at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're
Wow,
they're
that
pretty
is really
supportive
cool.
people.
Oh, okay. So with that resident attendant itself, mainly what's their goal? What do? They just there to help you?
Well, no, they're actually students who has already been there for a year or 2 years, whatever the case may be, and it's their job. They get free room and board, but what they really want is experienced people to be there with all of the inexperienced people to help them through their first year of college.
Yeah, for example, in my dorm, we don't my dorms they aren't built like floors. We have like these sectors that are set off like I'm sorry, it's hard to describe, but each RA has a different, has a certain amount of people that are over in my dorm area. And what they do is, well, what my RAs are supposed to do, they're supposed to go around, check on the certain amount of group of people they're over, inform them on events, inform them if we're having any events in the dorm, or they're just, as a freshman, I have a curfew. So, they're trying to make sure we're in by 1 o'clock and different stuff like that. But they're pretty cool people. They're students, so they're very understanding. They aren't trying to tell us what to do. They're just trying to help us out as
Got you.
older students of the university.
Okay. So your curfew is 1 o'clock for the freshman year, and so Yasmin, they expect for you to be there at 1 o'clock. What happens if you're not there at 1 o'clock?
Well, they'll let you pass a couple of times, but if it gets out of control, they put you on a restricted curfew, and it can go from anywhere to 2 weeks to a month to the rest of the school year to where you have to come in at 11 o'clock. And if you don't come in at 11 o'clock after you've been on restricted curfew, then they fine you. I don't know how much they fine you. I've never been in that situation, thank God. But after that, they just simply kick you out. I mean, you have to follow the rules.
Oh, kick you out of the school or just kick you out of the dorm?
They will kick you out of the school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're pretty strict. So.
Okay. So now taking the opposite end of that, as long as you're in at 1 o'clock, you checked in. How early can you leave that morning? If
You leave about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, 6 o'clock is the time. They say 6 because a lot of athletes get up.
And go running and work out and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, if I'm a freshman and I'm on the track team and we have practice at 6 o'clock, then we have. I'm sorry. We have RDs. That's the RD director. She's over the whole dorm. She's over the RAs, and she keeps track of everything, like who's in sports, who does what. So, if I do leave at 5:30, she knows, oh, Ravens in basketball. So, so that's how
Wow.
they keep track of that.
Okay. So in taking that first experience from the college dorm, one of your roommate, now you go into your first class. How is it getting through your class through the first semester? I know you have a lot of basics, and of course, a religious university, you're going to have to take religion. How's your experience in working, adapting to now you have coming from a high school environment, now you go to a college environment, you on your own, they expect for you to get this done. Do they actually help you and say, hey, this is what you need to get done, you're missing this assignment, or else, because they're not going to call you parent, you just end up failing. So tell us about the experience when you have a class and how your teachers mainly kind of get you to do the work so you can stay on task.
Well, everything is online. We have this website called MyMoodle, mycourses.com, and that is where all of our professors keep their work, and it's like a calendar with the whole year mapped out on it and the syllabus. So the first thing they really want you to do is to know your syllabus and know when things are due. The consequences for not doing certain things. It lets you know how many times you can miss class. When I first went to class, it took me about a good week or two to get myself adjusted because coming from high school, I was just thinking I never knew what a professor was supposed to be like. I thought that they were going to be a hard nose, just real tough. But when I got there, they're just people, and they help you to the best of their abilities. They don't want to see you fail, so they will help. But it is a lot of work. They say the first semester is the hardest semester of college, period, because it's just a lot of adjusting to get to. And after the first semester, it's really just it's a breeze because you know what to expect, you know what to do, and it's just become a part of living now.
Okay. So, what about your experience, Raven?
I mean, I can agree with him on that. I mean, when I first got there, I just thought professors really weren't going to care. I can't speak for, other universities, but because this environment is small, people get, they get attached to the professor. So it's like, I mean, it's good that the professor knows my name. It's good if I miss class, my professor emails me and was like, "Hey, Raven, why weren't you there today?" It's pretty neat. And as far as like getting adjusted, yes, the first semester, it wasn't, I say the hardest thing is just having the responsibility of just getting up on your own and going to class, and no one's there to tell you to get up. No one's there to tell you to do your homework. It's just getting into that habit of, doing it by yourself. And I say that's the most hardest thing. I mean, just getting to that habit of being more responsible than you were before, having more responsibilities on your plate.
So when you have your teacher itself, you have the responsibilities. Of course, you have an alarm clock. Alarm clock gets you up, or?
Yes, I have to have an alarm. My alarm clock is literally like, I mean, not more than a couple of inches from my ear because I'm a heavy sleeper. And I mean, sometimes I oversleep, but not rarely. I mean, my alarm is loud, so it's if it's not right by my ear, then I'm not gonna hear it. So I have this stand that's like as high as my bed. So I put my alarm right there, and it's loud. I get up.
So do you have like a meal plan? Breakfast is allowed this amount of time, and you pay for a meal plan, and you just have so many meals per week, and you eat it, or how is that done?
Yes.
How do you?
There are 3 different meal plans for students who stay on campus. One of the most popular meal plans is 15 meals a week. And with every meal plan, you get $200 for just spending like things that doesn't come with your meal plan. Like we have a store under our cafeteria, and it's like
Wow.
connected to a restaurant. So that $200 you spend on whatever you want, but you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 15 meals a week, and you can eat 3 times a day, basically. But I have a 10 meal plan, so I can have 10 meals a week. That's basically 2 meals a day. But I also work in the restaurant under the cafeteria, so a lot of the things that I get is already free. I don't have to worry about that third meal, and it's cheaper. So
Okay. Talk about work experience. Both of you work and work study, or?
No, not for work study,
Okay.
just work.
Yeah, I work. I work at like he was saying, the little restaurant up under the cafeteria. It's called Pop's Lounge, and I work for Starbucks under there, so I make coffee drinks and different things like that. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's actually kind of fun, really.
Wow. Okay, so you have regular jobs, and that kind of supplement your life outside of college. So, what's the ideal place that you normally study? You study in your dorm? You have study hall? Or you study in the library?
When it's something that contains more than one person, to go to the library because we can be more focused. But when it's just me, I like to sit in my lobby because I can really I can focus by myself. But when it's a group of people, I like to go to a library where it's quiet. They have a lot of different group study rooms in the library where the students are allowed to go in at any time of the day.
So you can have, if you have a team project, or if you guys want to say we want to study together and test each other, they have accommodations for you to help with that.
Yeah.
Spaces for you. Okay. When it comes to though, beyond your study life itself, and you go not really for fun, but your leisure time. What do you normally do in your leisure time?
Well, there's two different kinds of students. You have there's actually three different kinds of students. You have your student that just goes to school, and you have your working student, and then you have your student athlete that works. This is what my day consists of every day. I wake up at around 8 o'clock. I go eat breakfast. I go to class. My class starts at 9. I have an hour in between class. I have two classes a day. But right after my second class, I go to football practice. I'm in football practice for about 5 hours. I get off and I go to work. And I get off of work at 10. And the rest of that time, I spend studying. And sometimes, if depending on how much homework you have, you can stay up studying till about 4 o'clock in the morning. I've spent a couple of nights doing that, but you have to make sure that your work gets done because that's what you're there for. And then I go to sleep and I wake up and I do it all over again.
5 days a week or 6?
5 days a week.
Okay. And then you have study time and weekend for a mental break. When it comes to your freshman classes, you normally would take always English. Kind of tell us what your first year schedule. I know both of you are nursing students, but kind of tell us what the classes that you normally were taking as part of your general ed.
You just take the basics, English, a math, depending on what your major is, a science. They try to make all students take some form of psychology. I don't know, just, that's the same. I mean, it just depends on what your major is. I mean, there's a certain amount of basics, but, since I'm in nursing, there's different types of psychologies. I don't want to take a children's psychology, and that's not going to benefit my major. So it just depends. I mean, there's a certain amount of basics, but you have to figure out it's good to know what your major is, because if you know what your major is, then you know which basics are going to help you. You guys, am I making myself clear? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're pretty lucky. You already have your major, and you guys are firmly rooted in that major. Have you run into some students that really don't know what to do? They don't really have a declared major yet, and they just take their basics, and so they kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I've ran into a couple of them, a lot of them, especially on the football team. They just, want to knock those basics out of the way, and they figure that they can come up on a major for next year or something.
But I mean, that's fine. But it's just, to me, in my opinion, it's just better to know what your major is, because if you know what your major is, some of the classes, what if you have to take some classes that you could have taken, your freshman year? It's kind of like a waste to me. But I mean, I'm glad, as far as my degree, because my university, they're known for their nursing program. They give me this list of all the classes I have to take from my freshman to my senior year. Now, they want me to take 16 to 17 hours each semester. But some people, they can do it. Some people, yes. But I mean, since I'm working on top of that, I'm just going to stick to 13 hours, because that's just better for me. I'd rather know all the work and not, just skim through it and not know anything. So, yes, they pretty much I don't know about other majors. I know nursing, they pretty much have it planned out of each class you're supposed to take to be a nurse. And it's a lot. I'll tell you, nursing is tough, but I can do it.
Yeah, it is. Okay, good. What about how do you balance your work and your school life and your study life?
Me, see, I'm not in a sport, so my day consists of most of the time I get up at 7. Sometimes I may get up at 8, but most of the time I get up at 7. And then, I go to classes, and then I have a couple of hours in between before I go to work. So I'll try to do my schoolwork then, so maybe I don't have to do it after work. Or if I just want to take a nap, and then I'll go to work and then, do my schoolwork afterwards. But me, it's more about maintaining. You have to get your priorities straight. If you're not going to do your homework before you go to work, just be prepared that you're going to be up all night.
Wow.
It's just all about, what's best for you.
How do you strive for good grades?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Oh, how you strive for good grades?
Me, I say keeping in contact with your professor. If your professor knows you're trying, you do the work and all. I mean, if you need help, all you have to do is ask. Because if you don't ask, then you're not going to get it. And if your professor knows you're trying, and then our school, we have different tutoring sessions and stuff you can take. I mean, there's so many things that can help you. So if you fail, that's nobody's fault but your own. There's so many different things to help you, like different tutoring sessions, I'm in a club called SSS, Student Support Services, and and because I'm in that club, they help me get free tutoring on almost any subject I need it on.
Wow.
If I write a paper, they have some. No, I don't. So if my grades are low, it's, I obviously haven't been using all the resources that are available to me.
So your advice is to take advantage of all the resources available on campus.
Yes. If they're giving out free tutoring, which our university is giving out free tutoring to a lot of people. So, I mean, I have algebra. So, I mean, if I wanted to, I can go get free tutoring for algebra every day. So there's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no
excuse.
Yeah, there's no excuse. I mean, if you have if your grade is low, there are so many people. Ask people in your class. Like, if you know what I'm saying? There's so many different sources. Ask the teacher. I'm sorry, the professor. If your grade is low, there's no excuse that it should be low.
And another thing is just show up to class. That is one of the most important things. Even if you're 10 or 15 minutes late, if you show up, it shows your professor that you're trying and that you're here and that you're dedicated. If you don't show up, the professor could care less about you because they feel like you care less about their class.
Wow, that's powerful there. Health-wise, how do you guys take care of yourself? Have you experienced any colds and you're sort of as a clinic on campus?
I have never been sick, like, real bad before until I went to college. If you go to college, you will get sick. It's just as simple as that, because there are so many different people who were brought up different from you, and they take care of their bodies different. I know a lot of nasty things, and it's just, people, they sneeze, they cough, and they have a virus, and they go around, they touch the doorknobs, they don't wash their hands or whatnot, and you go around, you may wash your hands, you may take care of yourself, but you're touching those same doorknobs and handles and sitting on the same couch as everybody else, touching the same remote as probably more than 100 people have touched, but you don't know any better. You're bound to get sick.
Wow. So how do you cope with that?
As far as me, I've had this sinus infection for a while. I'm actually going to the doctor again, but I just remember the remedies that my grandmother and grandfather have taught me. I try to take care of myself the best way. I try to remember things that they've gave me, medicines they have gave me. If it still doesn't work, I still call my grandma to this day. I'm like, hey, grandma, I'm still coughing or my head still hurts. What do I do? Because grandmas know everything.
Wow.
With me, I had a virus for about 2 weeks, so I was real sick, throwing up, but I knew that I had to get back to my life. I knew I had to go back to work. I had to start going back to football practice and class. So I actually had a doctor's note for 2 days, and I just sent out an email to all my professors letting them know my situation, and I took it to my job and let my football coaches know, and they work with you. And for that whole 2 days, I just stayed in the bed. I tried to eat healthy, tried to get my immune system back up, and it worked.
Okay. How do you prepare yourself from being overwhelmed? I mean, you guys are working, you have class, some of you have college projects like athletics. How do you keep from being overwhelmed?
We go to church.
Yes.
On Sundays, we have found this great church. We have met some amazing people there, It's a group of us, and we go to this church. It's called
Net Church.
Net Church, and it is awesome. It's like at the end of the week, I know I'm going to church on Sunday, and it's like I'm ready to take on the challenges of school again. Like, it's like that's my peace. I feel like that's a big part of what is keeping Raven all together.
Yes. Every morning when I wake up, I say a prayer asking for the strength and the courage to make it through every task that my day has for me. And I think that's what keeps me going. I just stay, and then I know where I come from, and I stay motivated not to just go back with nothing.
Okay. How do you keep from not procrastinating?
I think about, like I said, people come from different backgrounds. My background, I was raised very well, And I just feel I just want the best. I want Raven to live life. I want Raven to have everything. So I think, well, Raven, if you don't go to class, then you're gonna end up like this. And
Yeah.
and then my grandfather, he passed last year, and he was really
Oh, sorry to hear
he was
that.
a really important person in my life. Oh, it's fine. And he's always wanted me to go to college. So, and I just think about him every time. It's like I'm laying in the bed and I'm just like, I don't want to go to class. And then I think, well, what would he say if he was here? So, I mean, if you find something like some type of motivation that will keep you going, that's going to benefit you. I mean, there has to be some type of little goal you're trying to reach. Me, I just feel like I know I want a better life for myself, and I think, what would my papa say if he was here? And that's what keeps me just going and going and going and going and going.
And what is structural environment like for the freshman year? I know colleges want to really keep their hands because they're literally responsible for that person. So if something happens, they're not going to the person. They're actually going to the college for liability reasons. Say, what did you do to my youth, in a sense, my young adult, whatever. They're personally responsible for them. Do you think, in the sense of them controlling, say, hey, you need to stay on campus for your own safety and security, and taking that into light, do you think they're, I'm going to say not overprotecting, but really care, hey, I want to keep you safe and we want to kind of keep an eye on you? How do you feel about, if they being overprotective, or they just, do you think in your back of your mind say, hey, they're doing the right thing because everybody can't handle it, and it's rather just keep
Yes,
these things in place
yes,
before
yes.
something is out of control, because if something happens to them or Maine, hurt themselves, then we're responsible. But then we're bringing these problems onto a parent they're entrusting us. So you kind of
Well,
agree that. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think that they're being overprotective, but at the same time, they a lot of the authorities, they don't understand all of the students' backgrounds. Like before I came to college, I was by myself, living by myself, and I have that. I know that responsibility, what it takes, how to be responsible, but a lot of students, they've been babied still to this day by their parents, and if you don't give a freshman a curfew, they'll stay out. Of course they will, because they don't have to come in. And that can
Mhm.
lead to a lot of bad things, partying, not coming in, a fast track to destruction. You don't come in, you don't get up, you don't go to class. And I think that with the curfew, it also keeps us safe, because when you're out past 1 o'clock in the morning, there's nothing but trouble to get into. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely. Is the midnight
And
hour.
as far as on, like he said, understanding that different students come from different backgrounds, I just, as for me, I have, there are a lot of students who don't have any responsibility. And one of my friends, I go wake her up every morning so she can go to class, because
Wow.
she never had to wake up by herself. So one day I'm gonna stop, but as a friend, I'm like, if I don't go wake her up, she's just gonna sleep. It's not like she's a bad student. It's not like she doesn't want to go to class. She just never had that responsibility of getting up on her own by herself.
Well, at least I guess that's a
So
good thing of having roommates. You you
yeah.
have people that kind of help support you and have your back, as they say it.
Yeah, so as far as me, I have to understand, sometimes I used to get angry, about the curfew, but then I understand, there are a lot of students on campus who need those rules to keep
Yeah.
them on track. It's going to, I just have to adjust to it. I have to be more understanding that there are more students who need the rules than students who don't need them.
Okay. Any last advice from both of you? What to expect for that first year? Hey, this is what you're going to expect, and this is how to cope with it.
Well, I'd say just be prepared. You know, I got homesick. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to go home, but you just got to know, with today's economy, you need a degree, and just you got to be a go getter. You got to get it, no matter how hard you think it might be. And I just want to let for all the high school students know, whoever's listening, college is not hard. I promise, it is not hard at all. You just have to do your work. is one of the easiest things to me. It's not hard at all. Just go in there and know what you want to do, have your mindset, and get it done.
My thing about what he said, I don't know what he said, it's not hard. It's not really hard, but I say the hardest thing is just being consistent.
Yeah.
Because people get bored of waking up, going to class, going to work, waking up, going to class. It's like you want something different. And it's like, if you're consistent, then you'll get through. Some people, they're just like, oh, I'm tired, or, oh, I don't feel like going to class today. I've been going to class. I've been doing this. I'm not going. And that's how people fall off and they get off track. But if you're just consistent and you keep doing it and you keep, thinking outside the box, looking at your big goal of getting a degree, and not looking at right now, oh, I don't want to go to class, and then you'll make it. But if you just go to class and focus, and if you study, and if you could just communicate with your professors, get on a good term with them, because if they know you're trying, I promise they will give you extra leeway. They will give you extra help. I've been through professors like that. She knew one day I honestly forgot an assignment in my room, and she was like, oh, it's okay, Raven. Just bring it back next time, because I know you've done the work. If you're just on good terms with the professor and they know that you're working hard, if you left an assignment at your dorm, or you didn't print it off, or you totally forgot, then they'll try to work with you, because you're trying to work with them by coming to their class and wanting to learn what they're trying to instruct you to do.
And
okay.
Another tip is just sit at the front of the class and be involved. That's the best tip I can give to anybody. If you don't have to necessarily sit in the front, but don't sit in the back of the class, because when you sit at the back and you sit at the front, it says a lot to your professors. And when you're being involved, that also says a lot. Just stay involved and let those professors know that you're in there and that you're actually listening to what they're teaching.
Wow. That's powerful. Really, really good tips. I really appreciate you guys coming to the program. I'm sure this is going to help some new freshmen and parents kind of discern, hey, what to expect, and they won't be so nervous. Again, thank you for coming out on the program. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Again, it's been another production of the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. For more information about equipment financing and asset-based loans, visit our website, applecapitalgroup.com. That's applecapitalgroup.com. Or call us at 866-611-7457. We hope you'll join us for our next episode. And remember, you can always get to the core via iTunes. You'll find all our previous episodes there. And thanks again for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet.